There are so many stories about New York that can be found in the 1990s. There's a new ESPN 30 for 30 documentary that tells one of those stories, chronicling the rise of skateboarding culture across the city.
Street skating was evolving at that time. No, in New York, it was, a bunch of crazy kids, like mostly from dysfunctional families that came from all these different boroughs, and eventually we all just became one unit, and we skated together.
That is a scene from Empire Skate, which tells the story of the skaters, their attitudes, their favorite hangout spots, the evolution of the sport to what it is today, going from underground and something that was cool to a national sport in the Olympics that's still cool. The documentary played at the Tribeca Film Festival. It's now available on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. Josh Swade, the director of Empire Skate, is with us in the studio this morning. You come by your interest in this topic honestly.
I grew up skateboarding, and when you grow up and find something like skateboarding, it kind of changes your life because suddenly you have a group of friends that you're always hanging out with, and you dress a certain way and you talk a certain way and you just move through the world a certain way. And so even though at some point you might stop skateboarding, the ethos of it never really leave.
But how does that translate into, I'm going to make an ESPN documentary about this?
Well, having done work with ESPN and the fine folks over there over the years, I just thought there was an opportunity to tell a story that was a little bit different for them, that wasn't stick and ball, was a little bit more culture-based. And their 30 for 30 brand is so iconic. They've done so many amazing things that Supreme and the topic of Supreme being such a global brand felt like a really neat way to do a 30 for 30 film. And they understood it right off the bat,
It's not just a New York City phenomenon, but New York is very much the center of the story that you're telling.
Well, going back, Southern California was the beginning, the origin of skate. But in the 90s, the sport shifted to the street, and we're better to sort of kick off street skateboarding than in the greatest city in the world. So that's really kind of the heart of where our story starts.
Yeah. Let's. I mean, Supreme remains a big business in the streetwear world. The store now is not the same place where the store grew up back in the day. But how does that fit into this picture?
Well, these kids needed a skate shop, and as the sport was evolving in the 90s in New York, lo and behold, they had each other, but they didn't have a skate shop. And so in 1994, one finally opens, and that just becomes the de facto clubhouse. So if that's where they're hanging out every day, the magic is sort of going to build from that, and their energy and attitude and everything they were about is what made the brand so coveted.
Yeah. I've got another clip from the documentary here, because there were the crews who weren't necessarily welcoming to those who were outside the culture. Here's a section that highlights the Zoo York crew.
The Zoo York crew was like these misfits of the time.
Maybe at times intimidating, because we were out of our minds.
You got the whole package. This wasn't just like some kid skating. This was like some kid skating with his friends, telling a story, doing these tricks. And New York City was the backdrop.
And the skate industry, never seen anything like that, like a crew of people from New York being New Yorkers.
I'm always struck when you try to look back to video or film from those days. Yeah. There's just less of it, because we don't all have phones in our pockets like we do now. How did you tell that story visually?
Well, in a lot of ways, it's, as a filmmaker, very fortunate, because skaters were some of the first people to have these consumer cameras before everyone had a phone in their pocket. And those cameras they took with them to capture tricks, right?
Yeah.
So they were getting the tricks, but then they left them on after they were done skating.
So there's some conversation.
So you're getting their whole lives, really. And it's that 90s kind of grainy footage that looks so much better, I think, than this vertical phone stuff we're all shooting today.
Yeah. What's the message that a New Yorker takes away from this film?
The city is a special place, and downtown New York in particular has been adding to this culture in our world, whether it's Def Jam or CBGBs and now Supreme. This is just another example of another group of kids changing a global culture, but doing it from downtown New York City like we continue to do. And also the story of a city embracing the sport. We have 37 skate parks now.
Yeah.
37, you know? And in 1994, we had none. So what does that say?
Something happened.
Yeah.
Good to have you in this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Again, you can see the documentary streaming now on Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. For more stories in your communities, click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV for the latest news and weather updates every 10 minutes and more. We'll see you then.